What's going on, friends, followers, fellow subscribers? Mike McFarland here, the Lakeport Fishing Guide, about to give you a rundown, the second rundown for this week. It's Thursday, May 26th. My father's birthday. He's 96 years old. Amazing, 96. Born in Oklahoma in the Dust Bowl. Wish him a happy birthday, would you please? 96 is quite the feat, a long time to live. I don't know that I want to live that long. But let's tell you about Lakeport. All right, going to the board here and stick around tonight because I got a little catching fish secret, little tournament secret for those of you that look for the unders. I got a really cool tip, place to fish or look for them, and a bait that just wears them out, okay? The lake, the conditions have really changed. We went from, I know we talked on Tuesday, and we had a cool trend from the cold front last Sunday, but we had a front move through a couple of times this week, and it didn't rain like they said it was going to, but there still was some substantial rain. But there was a cool trend where it really was chilly in the morning, 50, 60 degrees. And then the worst thing really that added to it, it affected a lot, but we're still catching fish, but we're superb high winds. I mean, unbelievable from the west. 35-mile-an-hour sustained winds. The weatherman called it 15. They're so high on whatever they smoke. The weathermen here they're in la-la land. And I mean, it is, I get it. It's a tough place, but they are worthless. It's not even worth looking at. They called for 3 inches of rain. We didn't get a quarter inch of rain. Twice. It's supposed to be an inch in the morning and then 1 to 2 more inches the other night. We got some rain, but it just, the wow factor and how far off they are. Number one, I would absolutely be at my knees embarrassed for the bad predictions that I made this year as a weatherman. And if I was their boss, I'd be livid. I would be livid. Whoever owns the Weather Channel and Fox WAP, whoever's the owner of that is, should be hot, because I know they're educated and can do a better job than they are. Here's the thing. The weather's going to do what the weather's going to do. You can't change that. Just because the weatherman gets it right or wrong doesn't change what the weather is. But the bottom line is, man, they could be sending people up a creek without a paddle. You know, we go north thinking it's not going to hit, and it does hit. Or better yet, let me be my father for a minute. He's a 96-year-old retired colonel. The airport, the DFW, do you think they get that prediction wrong of what's coming? Those weather people that are there landing thousands of planes on a daily basis? You're dang right they don't. You know why? Because someone would be held accountable. Do you think that at an Air Force base locally here that they get that wrong? No, because the colonel would be up their butt. But the weather that we get, all the apps that I get, usually they're fair. But my gosh, I mean, wow, they're bad. So enough of the venting. But the wind blew so hard with the cool trends that we had, 52 and 60 degree temps. We dropped all the way down to 73.3 yesterday morning, 74 degrees tonight. That is a 10-degree drop in the surface temperature of the lake in less than 7 days. 5 days. Last Saturday, 84. Yesterday and today, 73, 74. Now we're back to 76.6 this afternoon when I came off. That churn of the lake made the visibility go away. It's got like a weird brown, it's been rocked, and it blew for the pros, south, blew hard for the pros on Thursday or Friday and Saturday. I mean hard. And then Sunday turned around and had north winds blow, and then now west winds blow. Lake's churned. She's no longer with the 1-2 foot and visibility and no longer Lakeport green. She's got like a brown stirred up color. 0 to 1 foot visibility. The level. Now you'll see the level comes up quite a bit here, almost a full inch. Honestly, that's not because of rain. We did get some rain, and it came up a little bit, but it's the wind that drove all that down on the dam, pushed all that water down there, so it's making an assumption that the level is higher than it is, and that's typical. We get hard wind for a certain amount of time like that, and it'll change. One end of the lake will be a little higher than the other. So down by the dam, this is where this is measured by SRA, it was a little higher on Wednesday, back down today, 39744. So some weird things happening on Fork. One of the worst things that does tend to happen because of high winds and more over colder than the high winds is the changing of the winds. You got south winds blowing for 3 days, blows a lot of current and plankton and dirt and things up north. It blows a lot of the water up in the north, and the basin kind of drops. Believe it or not, there is a little level change. And then all of a sudden it turns around and blows the other way. It's just, those fish have to reset up. It does change things. It changes where they are, it changes how we fish for them, and it changes the bite sometimes altogether. It takes them a little time to adjust and get reset up. But listen, the weather for the next few days is finally a lot better. If you're coming out tomorrow, 61 to 81. Northwest winds tomorrow. Don't like that north wind when it's blowing from the north, stubborn like a horse, but it's light and variable. So we should warm trend back up pretty good. Again, 61 in the morning, 81 afternoon. Saturday, 70 for a low, 92 for a high. We're coming back around south-southeast, 10 to 15 miles an hour. And Sunday, 70 and 91, south, straight out of south, 10 to 20. Should be a good weekend overall. South wind blows it in their mouth, so they bite pretty well. Give them a little time to settle down, and I bet by midday Saturday or so, maybe even right off the bat, those fish are ready to be back in that south wind positions, blowing on those structures, those offshore structures, tree lines and things, because they're post-spawn, and the bite's been pretty good when they do that. As you saw in the elites really caught them. They caught them offshore. All the anglers were offshore in some shape or form. They were throwing big crankbaits. They were throwing some top water steel. It's a top water bite, especially early and late. They were throwing a lot of Carolina rigs. The big worm was really, really superb. The really big worms, the power worms, and the trick worms. And then, of course, jigs. You can never go wrong throwing a jig on Lakeport. But the big cool trend really did affect things. Look for it to come back around. As we get hot, the offshore bite will even get hotter. And the fish that are finishing up the spawn, they want to come back out. But when that water cools down, they'll kind of hold up in there. And so, for example, the other day, I think I already told you in Tuesday's report, I was offshore and I had to kind of pull back up to find the fish. And we had a 30 fish day because we pulled from 10 to 14 back up into 6 to 8. Those fish had come back up. And so the heat will drive them back out. Expect it. Hey, listen, if you're coming out this weekend, be really careful. It is Memorial Weekend. It'll probably be pretty crazy. I don't think there'll be any rooms at the Lake Fork Marina Motel. So if you're looking for a room, might have some at my buddy's house. My buddy Rich Stringer that owns the Burning Stump. He may have some availabilities there. But there's always the Lake Fork Resort and a few other places on the lake that you might find something. The Lake Fork Marina Motel and Burning Stump. Check those out. Be careful over the weekend. Follow the rules. Stay in the buoy lanes. The lake is still low, and I haven't showed you this in a little while, but I'll remind you, if you've never been to the lake, you want to be cautious running the lake. It's dangerous, and so stop in the marina, Lake Fork Marina, or Axton's, or Fisherman's One Stop, and get yourself the Lake Fork Super Trails. This has been used and endorsed by MLF anglers and BASS elite anglers. This will keep you safe. Remember, there's two ways. You're going to run some of these and you're going to idle some of these. So you got safe lanes and running lanes. But be real cautious and don't run in some of the backwater lanes. Idle them, and it will keep you from bumping stumps. You'll expedite your idle in and out of that shallow water stumps. If the lake was full, you'd be able to run 90% of this. But remember, this is really cool. Lake Fork Super Trails. Get it at the Lake Fork Marina Motel when you're staying there. And let's tell you, though, now, I told you crankbaits and jigs and all those things. But listen, if you're here for tournaments, if you just want to catch fish, if you come for the big fish, you're going to always fish a little different. It's kind of like going big buck hunting. You don't shoot the does, you don't shoot the spikes. So if you just come here and maybe you've tried to catch a big fish halfway through the day and you say, that's it, I just want to catch some fish. There is no better way than a rage-tailed cutterworm. Okay? Multiple colors, watermelon sea, watermelon candy, watermelon red when the sun's shining. I usually will like Texas rig a little bit, but I found a really cool rig that works so good. You find these fish right now in about 8 to 12 feet of water in brush piles, okay? And if you'll take a lightweight sandtone wobblehead, and when I say lightweight, I'm talking 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce, no heavier. But if you'll take and put that cutterworm, rage cutterworm, okay, right there. You'll put that on that little wobblehead. It has an undulation and the action of almost of a Cinco with a tail. All right, and so right now, man, I'm telling you, you can crush the numbers by fishing the brush piles in about 8 to 12 feet. Those brush piles are going to be located a lot on points. They're going to be located on pond dams. You really just need to kind of take your map and then take a look at some of those points and things where you think that local anglers might have sunk stuff, and go look for it. Side scan, look for it. But you're going to catch a lot of fish by doing that. I generally just kind of fish it like a jig right through the brush, but you can swim it. That's why I like this bait on the wobble head. It has the undulation. The tail makes it swim like a swim bait, and it has this. It's got an action, and you'll see if you use it. It's undeniably really true in the water. I really like the watermelon candy with the chartreuse tail, because here's why. You're going to catch a lot of fish, but sometimes there's still some big fish in those same areas. Today we dumped a 7-pounder doing that. It was really neat. Let me tell you what I do throw it on. I throw it on a little bit lighter line. Kind of makes me cringe on Lakeport when I do that. Anything under 20-pound test, you're BB gun hunting for bear. But remember, we decided to do this because we want to catch fish. We want unders for tournaments. We really don't care about those bigger giant fish. If you get one on, you have to play a little bit with this light 15-pound fluorocarbon. But I've actually gone down to the McFarland Signature MB 1020. It's like a 4-power rod. Realistically, that handles that 15-pound line perfectly. But it's real-time rods, MB, 7'3", 1020, 15-pound fluorocarbon, sand-tone wobblehead, 1/4 ounce max with a cutter worm. All right, that'll get it done for you. If you want to know more, I've had a pretty decent week. It went up and down with the cold trend, but I still caught big fish. Had a decent 20-something pound sack the other day with 6-pounder, 5-pounder, two 4-pounders, and a 3-pounder, and a bunch to go with it. But those rods right there and in this drawer right here are some special baits that I'm going to show the members on. All right, it's what we're actually using, what we're fishing for those bigger bites. And when that south wind that I talked about rolls around this weekend, we're going to be catching those bigger fish that way. You want to know what it is? Please, I'm asking you to subscribe to the members only. Try it once. If you don't like it, it's $4.99. You can unsubscribe if you don't like it. My bet is you're going to love it. You're going to have access to all the videos that I've been shooting for the last 6 months. It'll drive you in there. You get to see what it's really all about. I do the rule of 3, which will put you in the right section of the lake. I promise you that is super effective. There's testimonies and people proving that they're using it and catching fish consistently. I give you the goods. So this is your invite. Members only channel. If you have a desktop or your laptop, it's real simple. Go to one of the videos, the public videos, hit join. That's the easiest way to do it. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Comment below if you enjoyed this. Have any questions. I will answer them even on the public. Give me the thumbs up if you like it. Again, be safe this Memorial Weekend. I wish you all great fishing. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lakeport Fishing Guide.